So here we're just going to explain how to do order of operations and formulas on the calculator. So for order of operations, understand that the calculator will do a lot of it for you. You remember parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, or please excuse my dear Aunt Sally for knowing what order to go in, left to right. But the calculator will do some of that for you. So let's just show you that part. So we put in 6 minus 4 parenthesis 5 minus 6 parenthesis, and let's just put in to the third power. And again, normally, what you would do is you work with the parentheses first. 5 minus 6, you get -1, take it to the third power, multiply it by -4, and then you would add 6. Well, the calculator is going to do all that for you just by pressing enter. And in this case, you're going to get 10. Now, what if we just have it be a little bit more complicated and include a fraction? So we're going to press the n over d, but notice the calculator will do a lot of the work for you. So we do something like 4 squared minus 3 plus 4. Again, we can put get as complicated as we want to on the top or the bottom. The calculator will do a lot of the work for you. Let's just say on the bottom, we're going to do 3 minus 8. And then let's take that to the third power. So let's see what happens. That might take some time for you to figure all that out, but basically you end up with a -9 over 125. So it does all that work for you. Again, if you wanted that to be a decimal instead, we would just press the toggle switch down here above enter, and you notice it changes it to a decimal. What if you had a formula, something like the formula for finding the volume of a cylinder? Volume equals pi r squared times h. Well, you would just plug in things that you know. So in this case, you would put in pi. Let's say the radius, because radius is halfway across the circle. Let's say the radius is 16. And then we're squaring it. And they're going to multiply it by the height. Let's say the height is 5. Now, notice I'm using parentheses through this. You don't always have to, but you know what? I'm just finding that in my life, it's easier to be consistent and always remember that we want to to be consistent. So in this case, I'm just going to put parentheses around my numbers so that the calculator doesn't get confused or so that I don't forget to put them, especially if I ever have a negative number in any of my formulas. Because if I forget negatives, or if I forget using parentheses with negatives, the calculator doesn't like that very much, or the calculator has a hard time calculating or knowing what it is you were trying to do. So in this case, we just press enter, and then notice it gives you this with pi at the end. That's kind of a standard form for math. So we're going to toggle it, and now it changes it to a decimal. So that's the basics for using the calculator with calculating order of operations and formulas.